Assalamu alaikum. This is MD Sadman Sakib Shourav. In our Surface Design Lab project, we are assigned to design a three-story building with two units in it. I did the floor plan of my project. In this, we have first and second floor and a ground floor. I made a building of approximately 1600 square feet. For each unit, we have a master and a regular bed. We have two toilets, one kitchen, proper drawing, and dining spaces. We keep a veranda and adequate windows for each room for proper ventilation. We also have stairs in this model. Besides, in our ground floor, we are told to keep parking spaces for each flat. As we know, uh, we need 17 feet by 20 feet free spaces for each car. We made only two big spaces for the cars. But we have a more space to keep light vehicles like cycle, motorcycle, or etc. We also keep one guard room, one toilet room in basement. We also try to keep a sitting space besides our main gate. And that's all from my side. Thanks.
Greetings, my name is Tawheed, my ID is 173. We will proceed now to our next topic, which is fittings and fixtures. So an electrical fixture is a product that is used for fitting various electrical devices like lights, fans and etc. For example, wall brackets, switchboards and power sockets. An electrical fitting is any kind of electrical appliances that fits in various fixtures. Example, tube light, TV and electric fan, etc. So for fittings and fixtures, first of all, we measured the floor plan dimensions including height and width, etc. On the next step, we calculated the number of fittings. For this, we created an Excel file. So we checked on the recommended luminance for different type of rooms. We used the data from Energy Pack's website for 12-watt bulbs and 18-watt tube lights for the wattage and the lumens, etc. The calculation of the number of lights and fans for each room was done using the formula in Excel. So after finding the data, Ishani ID 131 made the required symbols in AutoCAD to be placed on the floor plan. It is important to note that besides the mathematical results, we had to also look into account our observations of fittings and fixtures, like our surroundings and intuitions. For example, in this bedroom, the calculation gave us the result of 1.85 fans, but normally there is not more than one fan in a bedroom. So we placed the fan in the area of the bed and added some switchboard sockets or power sockets where a table can be placed, so that one way we can use a table fan there. So we took into account of the same intuition for the rest of the rooms. Thank you for listening to me. So we will now proceed to our next topic, which is conduits.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nafisa Sadaf Probha, ID number 158. We can see here the ground floor and the first floor conduit design. SDB lines were colored blue while emergency lines were colored red. Our priority was a neat and clean design, and so we prioritized that two wires don't cross each other. Therefore, we drew wire connections from the walls. Sometimes we had to add switchboard connections with power socket connections due to limited space and maintaining a neat design. Besides, wires of all security-related lights and other appliances were connected to the ESDB. Emergency lines were used because we prioritized security. We considered that security lights would stay on for a long duration, and if we had connected it to only one unit, then only that unit would have to pay the bill. Thank you for listening to me. We will now proceed to our next topic.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Rizwan Jaman, ID 175. Once the initial designs were done, I had to do some small fixing regarding the arrangement of the plan, some of the fittings and conduits, because as our plan moved on, we identified some mistakes and we had to fix them. For example, here you can see that there is no wall on this side or this side. However, in our final plan there is a wall. We have to think of these some small mistakes, and also here you can see that there is a emergency line and also a normal line. They are very close to each other, but in our final plan we removed these unnecessary lines that may cause problems. So you can see some basics error here and there, but we resolved problems like these, such as symmetry issues and other issues, in our final plan. Once these were done, we moved to the calculation and connection diagram part. The calculation was done jointly by Sumaya Alom, ID 172, and Isha Jahan Moon, ID 176. So at first the calculation of the conduits were done, and it was found that the conduits required in all the cases had 2 into 1.5 RM BYM plus 1.5 BYA ECC. Next we did the circuit breaker calculations for the SDB and ESDB to MDB and EMDB connections respectively. Here we can see that the SDB and ESDB connections, we have done this for the first and second floor, but we have also had to repeat this process for the ground floor and the staircase. And once the results were done, we moved on to the calculation of the EMDB, and once the part of EMDB was done, we moved on to the MDB. It is important to note that we are using a three-phase connection here, and this is why we have to use the line voltage, and in our EMDB current we have to divide by √3. Once these were done, we finally moved to our last part of our project, that was the connection diagram and wiring diagrams. So this part was done jointly by Sohala Rao Sala, ID 184, and me, Vishwan Jarman, ID 175. So the line diagrams were based on each and every room. As you can see here, this is the SDB connection diagram per each unit or per each apartment, and we did the same process for the ESDB connection diagram. Once that was done, we had to do the same process for the ground, SDB connection diagram for the ground, ESDB for the ground, and ESDB for each of the staircase. You can see here that there is some emergency lines here that Prova talked about, and because we had to use emergency lines, there was also an ESDB on each of the floor in the common area between these two apartments. So once those were calculated, once those were drawn, we moved to the SDB to MDB diagram connections, and they were done based on the calculations that Sumaya and Moon provided. So once these were drawn, we moved to the EMDB connection diagram, and in the EMDB connection diagram we also used Sumaya and Moon's calculations to put the values of the required circuit breakers and the required values of the wires. And once that was done, we finally made the MDB diagram, and once this was done, we concluded our project. So after doing the project, we conclude that as electrical engineers we have a role to place fittings and fixtures, keeping the comfort of the people in mind. We cannot place as many appliances as we want, as we also have to consider the limit and the economy of a certain home. We have learned how a connection from the grid enters our homes from doing this project. Thank you. Do you have any questions?